So a plan to roll back detainee laws amounts to rewarding terrorists. That from several former high-ranking security officials in a letter criticizing Democrats for trying to end rules that allow indefinite detention of suspects. In part, it reads, quote, rewarding terrorists with greater rights for making it to the United States would actually incentivize them to come to our shores or to recruit from within the United States, where they pose the greatest risk to the American people. Such a result is perverse. Cully Stimson, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Detainees. And Cully, good morning to you.
Hi, Bill.
You helped draft or at least sign on to this letter. Why?
Sure, I helped put the letter together. Look, last year's National Defense Authorization Act simply codified the existing state of law, and these amendments would essentially require the President not to have the option of detaining people for intelligence purposes and allowing our intelligence professionals to question them. It forces them to go right to federal court, and it forces our folks to Mirandize these folks. So thus it incents people to come here because then they get the full panoply of life.
Make that case a little more clear for us. It would give the terrorists more incentive to come here? How so?
Yeah, look, if you're captured in the United States right now and you're an Al-Qaeda member, whether you're a citizen or a non-citizen, you have the writ of habeas corpus. That's it. That means that the government could hold you for intelligence purposes, detain you as an enemy combatant, and to interrogate you lawfully. They don't have to send you to federal court. But if these amendments go into law, then the only option for the government is to read your Miranda rights and send you right to federal court, which means they get the full glory of the Constitution, and we can't talk to them. That's a problem.
Isn't that the age-old argument, suggesting that federal law enforcement can take care of this? It's a police matter as opposed to something more?
We're almost back to the future, Bill. I mean, we're in a state of armed conflict. We're at war. And so you not only have the law of armed conflict and the tools available under that, detention, interrogation, but then you have the option as the executive to federally prosecute people when they come here to our shores. But you don't want to handcuff the President and take the law of armed conflict tools off and just force them into federal court. Miranda, a lawyer, you want to be able to lawfully interrogate people. This President has already said he's going to send them to federal court anyway, but he may find a situation where he doesn't want to immediately send them to federal court. He may want to have them lawfully interrogated for a period of time. If this bill becomes law, that's off the table.
There are those who argue that what's happening at Gitmo right now would have been an absolute joke if they were brought here to New York City or anywhere else within the country. Can this amendment pass? Does it have a shot?
I hope not. But you never know. It's Capitol Hill, and politics will come into play. But if people really think about it, set aside Bush or Obama and think about the presidency and the commander-in-chief. You don't want to take lawful options off the table. And we're still at war. We know Al-Qaeda is recruiting Westerners and Americans to take up arms against the United States. Don't defang the government's lawful tools.
Well, we led into you about having an American passport, referring to it. That is the golden ticket if they can get it. Cully, thank you for your time. Cully Stimson out of Washington. You bet. We'll talk again. Martha?